on Mr. YouTube, I have to go to content and then go new, live, and then tell it that, hey, I'm not making this for kids. I mean, I don't aim to be like, again, as I've said every time I've clicked that, I don't aim to be terrible, right? But it's better safe than sorry, and I can be a bit, vociferous at times when I'm not holding my tongue in certain circumstances. So that sort of thing. All right, let's take a look. See here. One more check before I go off to other things. All right. Oh, that's silly. Need to pull F2. Close the extension. All right, cool. Because basically Discord, I have it sharing my self basically in the Discord. We have a more direct one, and people can kind of watch there as well. See stuff. And I have one more check to deal with before I can get this started in earnest. So, as I said before, the goal here is we're going to be playing a bit with Python, actually. Some of the coding that I've done, scripting, technicalities, right? That I've done from the past. I actually, from my conversation yesterday, was looking at it, and I figured out the particular, because I did actually, if I did say so myself, pretty good job on sequestering my my vulnerable code stuff. The stuff that actually has my password stuff in a specific config file, which is a matter of concern with getting that cut over properly. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and switch my screen. So it's gonna take a second. Also look a weird lag. All right, yeah. Let's see. So, that was so yeah. So we're looking right now on the actual Trello tracking for the article generation. Now, I made a bit of a modification because for discussing with one of my fellows here, he was kind of really buying into it to help with specific aspects of editorial elements, that sort of thing, because it's within his wheelhouse, and he's got a background as a writer. And so it's definitely something that he's capable of helping on. I do have him working on the SEO stuff, because again, he's got a background in that as well. But it ends up being a hey, let's try and see if we can get him back on our stuff. Right now, we're kind of in a space where we have a lot of these glossary items that need to get a really good look over, because the roughs that are out there right now, they're kind of minimum viable product type situation, and that's great and all, but they're not all the most readable in the world, and that's a problem, right? There's also some other errors and other issues as well. I'm gonna move this guy over to, can I not do this in bulk like I want? I have to do it in a different way. But what I gotta do is I'm gonna have to make actually, yeah, I think I actually thought myself ahead. No, those are all that. So yeah, so I'm gonna make a holding card, because I don't want to move the glossary check because I already defined things around it, right? So I want to do something silly with that. The consequences that end up occurring with that are best avoidable. So let's go with let's see, mod slash So basically one of the problems that I've had is that my fellow, great as he is, and this glitched. Or did it? Biscuit, it glitched. Because these are supposed to be filled in automatically. That sucks. Because it didn't fill those in. I mean, it has them, right, but it didn't fill them in like it's supposed to. Which means that entire batch is worthless. Let's prepare that. Alright, so anyway. Archive all items in this list. There's that. Not how that's supposed to work. So I'm gonna probably actually have to redo the zap experiment with or figuring out how to do something cool with the sheets. Basically, I did a little bit of back and forth to try and figure out how to make some items automatically pull from like a certain pattern that was above. Because these are groups of 5, right? And there's patterns that kind of pull from them. So it was just kind of one of those cool little things. Ended up leveraging, honestly, knowing what I was going for, gave it this pattern. I ended up leveraging that to work through and get it. Oh, you know what? Hesitant to do it, not because I got nothing to show, but rather because, yeah, I'll show it. Got a lot of stuff that we worked on here over time, and like there's we got a huge backlog of content that's coming up, right? So it's kind of the cool part there. And right now what we're doing mostly is getting like we got our initial push. There's like with Google and with the indexing, you basically there's a like, ooh, this is neat, and then you can kind of think the site or the indexers are like, oh wait, there's this new site, here's this thing. And so if you have a chunk of articles that come out, with your first push, it'll give them stuff to kind of chew through over time and give you kind of not a leg up, but it'll give, a leg up in a manner, but it'll give a sort of bit of a movement forward, sort of thing. So it's kind of, so you want to have like a chunk that you put out first, and then proceed to follow with indexing ratios so that the content doesn't get buried effectively in and of itself, sort of thing. So it's, in other words, a good idea to have your setup. All right. Wow, that's not okay. I got to check something here quickly. I don't know which is doing that. Is that other computer, or is that? Well, I mean, it's just the idea of having it up, I guess. Anyway, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. To be all said. Let's see. Discord's gonna Discord. So anyway, so what I was saying is that basically, initially I was doing these, just kind of, it was easier, just click up through and just kind of, be whatever. And I'm like, there's a pattern that I can use here, and I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it. And so this is one of the cool things about, generative AI stuff, right? It's like, hey, I know an idea of what I want to do, and I tried searching it, and people didn't really discuss on it. Apparently, it's one of those things. It's just like people who use these sort of things regularly just kind of like, oh yeah, it's automatic. You know what to do. It's automatic. It's easy. And I'm like, I'm a lot of things, and the entire spreadsheet thing, I got an idea of how to do some stuff, but I'm by no means a spreadsheet master, and I don't want to be. I played Eve back in the day, I don't want to go back there, because if I go back to the spreadsheet thing, I'm going to go right back into Eve, and then no one will ever hear from me again. And we want to avoid that, right? So back into the wormhole space. Oh, I got stories about W space. Anyway, so I'm like, there's a way to do this. I just didn't know how, and I knew there was a way to like kind of pull off, right? And so I found this thing that allowed it. And so I basically went through and tried various things and kind of found some stuff out back and forth. Really cool to me, because it was going to be a bright pain to do another whole bunch of these to do it. So and so we end up having this space where now instead these are all using this formula. And character 10, if you're not familiar, apparently I did not put it down this one, so I'm going to actually do it. Character 10, if you're not familiar, is actually the character, the new line character. So this in turn is why these end up having an additional like proper split to them, where it'll all right. So, but the reason why we're not sure, I just wanted to show that off because it was kind of cool to me that I figured out this one. I just sat down like, I'm going to do this thing, because I put it off because I had higher priorities to get done. So that's where we're at right now. Is we're in kind of like the cleanup phase of like all the mess that I left on the floor during the crunch. Let's see. So clear all. All right. Now core, check, and mono, because those are the ones that we need to fix in mass. So this is where we're going to start getting into the coding stuff or the scripting stuff, depending on what you ask. Because right now what we have is we have all these titles, right, that are all generated and all kind of made up, and they're kind of neat looking, except one problem. They're extremely generic. So you can see how all the builds, which are our actual conversation piece, all of those are monoclass or core only, right? And that's a problem, because ultimately with our glossary items that in turn allow some pretty neat stuff. These are the ones that we were working on on yesterday, which we still need to get around to doing the graphic stuff, and we'll get to Stable Diffusion, which I did not get to do my follow up on that portion. Man, it'll get done, but and we'll talk about Stable Diffusion and kind of like that implementation, because that stuff's pretty rad too. So anyway, so what ends up occurring is that we get to where there's these glossary kind of definitions, and these glossary ones want to have like specific, clearly specific names. And although, core only, as they were originally named, core only and model class, are very descriptive, they're not engaging, and they're not interesting. It's just, oh, well, it's core only, it's model class, cool, whatever. Whereas what we would want to have is we'd want to have, well, it's, like this one got marked as the immovable fortress build, right? But the title in build wasn't changed, so now it is. And then because these are part of the URLs that are generated, it is now immovable fortress. And this one actually looks like it's correct, mostly. And I'm not going to worry about. Well, actually, I am going to worry about this because that's how we get the bad build stuff, right? Now that one actually will go away from our list when we hit OK. Maybe, I don't know. Actually, it doesn't go away because we added it while it was there. So now it's gone because we changed the build, we changed the stuff. It doesn't need to be on the list of creation stuff. Which reminds me, the weird thing that I just found out that we were just pointing out was on my Zap. I just changed it, as you can see a couple hours ago. I just changed it to try and win it back to a different Trello check. Well, the problem with that is that the board, it's not native to the board, like the item's not native to the board, which means that the cards that it created didn't quite do the trick. It didn't work out. So let's see. Move that up here for a minute. As I look a little bit deeper into it. But yeah, you kind of saw the gist of it, where there's a bunch of stuff. There's stuff that, see, one thing I hate about some of these stuff is that they have no like sensibilities of like what they're showing on the screen, like, which is not like none of this stuff in isolation is going to be too disastrous to get out there, but it's still kind of like you not. All right, so I needed to change that in the list to back to automation holding, because the gist of what ends up happening is that because this isn't endemic to it, the custom, not custom, but the the custom fields didn't follow up properly, and so since they didn't follow up properly, well, I couldn't use those cards, because the reason why I have the obvious reason why I have those cards in this manner is because I want to have it basically makes it so that we can track everything better. So this should trigger the zaps. And then, so now it's just a matter of waiting on that, which is unfortunate because, like I said before, I kind of done it because I was trying to make sure that we would, have that part done already. Because there was no, it's one of those, like, there's no point to. So basically, I was off doing something else, and it was like, all right, push the button and wait for it to populate, because it takes time. Because the zap runs, I had to integrate a delay in there. Yeah. All right. I don't think it's actually doing it either. Delete all. And then save. Yes, I know. I did it earlier and it was fine for me to copy and paste. I just want to hit X a bunch of times. Don't add me, bro. There we go. It's definitely triggered now. All right. Now we gotta wait for that to do its thing. So that's. Alright, so now we got that sort of back up setting up. So now And now, without further ado, because you know you have to have all that sort of thing set up, we're gonna go with, and I'm gonna put it on this screen over here. So I've become one of those people where I have a screen that's on the vertical for coding, scripting, what have you. Which I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, I don't know. I also don't know how well it's going to work for this particular implementation either, because it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's you know it's neat and all, but will it show up properly? I have no idea. I need to actually test it because I just wanted to get straight to coding. And again, judge me for saying it's Python is coding. It is coding. Leave me alone. I know I say the same. You know, I do the same response myself too. So, all right. Need to move this guy. This could be an issue. We'll see. Anything there that I don't want to be seeing necessarily. There's one thing that is a bit of a problem that I want to switch. Let's see, new tab. I don't know how badly this is gonna break everything if I do this though. It could break everything. What do you say? No risk, no reward, right? Now you know what, it's fine. But I will. Let's see if I can get away with this somehow. More terminal, no. Maximize panel, split terminal. Oh, I don't know what I pushed. Oh, guess I gotta press and hold apparently. Move terminal to new window. Okay, so I'm going to have my terminal, which would also possibly expose things I don't want to be exposed to the same safety window as my my data stuff. You can kind of see it in sort of in the reflection, but it's not too terrible. So, all right. So now we have. Let me check my zaps. Let's see where we're at. Where are you at? Right there. Yeah, so as you can see, they're populating properly now. And I'm going to give it a bit, and then I'm going to end up putting them. Just thinking about what I want to do with it. Actually, let's do this. So if I go here, and then I go automation, rules, B. Cars add to the list and remove to the bottom of the list to start them. So now I'm going to edit this. I'm going to edit this and then instead go to a different board and go to my SEO station board, and then go, instead of start there, go to glossary check. No, not glossary check, my bad. This is not glossary check, this is monocore builds for now. I'll have to remember to change it later on, but for now, what the goal is to have it where these will go over there for reasons. Do I need to have them go there? I don't. That's silly. Actually, I don't need to do that. I need to change that like right now before I cause myself a future problem where I forget the hypothetical and then, well, you know how it goes. Let's see, so instead of going to mono core builds, which was at itself actually just a temporary arrangement, it goes to glossary check. Because glossary check, as I said before, I'm integrating an activity for another of my crew that has specific access to that particular board. So basically, the way I've got it set up is that we've got where there's the main board and there's a main group. That's the management, if you will, that has access to it and access to all of them in a form. Sorry, just the main board, and then they have their individual accesses to the other ones. The one thing is that I do have my primary account having access to all of them. I don't like it, but it's kind of how it, it's one of those like it'll have to get fixed later on. Sort of thing. Get done what you can, move on, and then circle back and clean up messes when you have time. I know it's better. Oh, we'll do it right the first time and all that. I understand that, but if it's doing it effectively, if it's doing it at all versus quote doing it right, what's the difference? Better to do, and then messes happen. Sure, clean them up later on. It's just what you gotta do. I mean, it's a how do you eat an elephant? One step at a time, or one bite at a time. How do you get things done one step at a time? Sometimes that means that you have to leave stuff on the floor. So. It's trying to get to the bottom of the bag there, apparently. All right, so let's see, where were we at? Oh yes, we're doing that. Now, let me check something. Pull this over to where I can see it adequately before I. Yeah, that should be cool. All right. So. As you can see, it's behind everything. As I said, sorry about not being quite ready on this line of thinking. I wasn't thinking about doing it, or I was kind of thinking about doing it, obviously, but I wasn't thinking about the ramifications of doing it because that's a specific problem. We're gonna put this over here on the screen. Not completely blocked off by all the drama. So let me just check something quickly here. Yeah, I think that's fine with me. Is it even legible? Can you even read the screen? See the problem. I gotta do it this way. Give me a sec and pardon me the noise. My bad. I just want to check something quickly. I am on the wrong dashboard. Mostly because I want to see it, so I want to make sure that it's decently legible. I'm on my personal channel's dashboard now, which I'm not. This sort of stuff I'm not streaming off of. It's the sort of thing where it's like, my stuff's more like my gaming, or it's our gaming as a whole. And I'll stream down. I'll stream down here too for the crew playing stuff, but for things like that, this, it's more, the other channel is more about, just silly gaming stuff like this. This is more, we have an objective, we're trying to do something here for the site. Yeah, you can read it mostly. A little small, but not too small. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to check that out because I didn't want to push the button to switch back over because I didn't want to. Anyway, where were we? So we were looking at, before I got distracted by trivialities, so we're looking at another proofing station. We're looking at the SEO station and kind of like how, no, I'm sorry, I cannot today already. It's too early in the morning, I haven't had my coffee yet. That's my excuse, I'm sticking to it. All right, anyway, so automation holding is where we were at. So these are all the mass lists that we were looking at earlier that we, using the Zap thing, pulled them over. Now, the reason why I have them here is because we have, and you can't see me doing that. You can't see me highlighting it over. Let me pull that over again. The one that we're talking about here is the automation holding, right? And so those guys are the ones that we were working on earlier with getting the titles. Because the problem with those titles is they cause interference with stuff downstream. And I've been playing around with it, and also I just don't like the fact that they're, monoclass and core. It's informative, but it's not engaging, and it's one of those, like, you gotta cut between the two. Informative, we have the class itself, right, is there. It's D&D 3.5. We have all this informative. Having a little bit of more engaging material in the naming, and also more descriptive in a manner, is more useful. It's informative, but not descriptive or engaging, which you want to have at least 2 out of 3, right? And we're 1 out of 3. So if we give up the strong informative, for the engaging and the whatever the other criteria I just arbitrarily pulled out of my backside, you end up in this space where you end up having where it's more interesting. It ends up being more interesting to look at. So again, maybe I'm overthinking it. The truth is, I probably am. But I also have for that side of things, but I also have a mechanical justification for wanting to change it. Because having it as monoclass and core, like I was saying earlier, breaks some of our underlying processes with the glossary item. It's actually the same thing that I found out with, like, the possessives. So I've had to do, we had, say, Ardechelon disciple, I think. Ardechelon's disciple, right? Or dragon ancestor or something, whatever it was. Dragon's something, Ardechelon's something. Io's avatar with an apostrophe S, possessive. And it breaks some of the processes because I don't know how to do the escape terms on them. I know that the slash should work, but it doesn't work for whatever reason. And it's between spend time trying to figure that out with the scant bit of documentation that's there, or just go avatar of Io, or instead of Io's avatar. It's simple as that. So back to the topic at hand, it also breaks, having the kind of the redundant stuff, it also ends up breaking certain things as well. So it's the sort of thing where if I don't modify it, I know it just doesn't work as well. So that's why I want to modify it, and that's why I want to modify it in mass, because there's it looks like 29 entries that have this particular twist left. And actually, correction, not 29. Apparently, I didn't change one of them that I should have changed. Now I gotta find the Dread Necromancer that's over here. Oopsie, that's the wrong one. Dread Necro. And those are actually, oddly, the D&D holding ones. Not what I thought they were. Okay. Interesting. Interesting and not okay. Well, maybe it's fine. Oh, again, you can't quite see this out of the screen. See, I need to think this through. All right. I don't want to move any of that. You know what? That's fine. You don't need to see all that. It's actually it is fine, because the thing is that we're not really looking at the top portion that you can't see. We're looking at the bottom portions that you can't see. So the middle of the screen is where we'd be looking at in any case. By and large, other than just having awareness of the full, developed stuff there. So anyway, before I rudely interrupted myself, so. As said, we can see that there is the 28 now, because one of them was actually just poorly copied over. That's not actually on our list. That got pulled over because it shouldn't have been. The Dread Necromancer. The Dread Necromancer we fixed, yesterday, right? So, and as we can see, it's not actually in our related stuff. These are actually feature processes that I developed substantially and used a little bit, but they didn't, unfortunately, because the way things worked out, basically, it gets put to the wayside for the time being. Some cool stuff that I could still derive, and lessons that were learned and all that. All right, so let's see. So we're looking at title generator. All right, and we're looking at trying to figure out titles for our we're not titles, excuse me. We're looking for regenerating the we're basically regenerating these names, because these cards are all actually going to be temporary that I'm just using as a reference point for my existing processes. Because you can see here that I already have GPT module, which is what we'll be taking use of. Do a little quick check here on something. GPT modules will take a look on that. And it's kind of where we're interacting with the GPT API, and kind of going through that. There's some strong limits with regards to max length, and how well effectively how well that GPT 3.5 and 4, although they just came up with a new model, actually. It's GPT-O, I think is what it was, something like that. I haven't really taken the time to look into it yet. Yeah, GPT-4o. I wonder if they've changed their costs at this point with that. I have to look, because I gotta say that GPT-4 4 Turbo is actually it ends up being pricey. The 3.5 is cheap, but it's not very effective though for these usages. Like, I couldn't get it to use I couldn't get it to effectively build these things, or 3.5 to build these, and that was actually one of my major mistakes with the previous generation of the discussion posts, was that I was using 3.5, and our curation process, although it worked pretty extensively, it wasn't as in depth as it needed to be, I discovered. So it's one of those things that's kind of saddening, because again, like, we worked pretty hard on it, but obviously it wasn't quite there. So and as you can see, this is all stuff that I built out before we were generating the articles and stuff like that. So let me see. So what are we trying to do here, Beth? This is the big part, is that I can readily get this process to. I can do this process with the GPT directly, right? I can go, hey, do this thing, and it'll do it. Okay, basically give it the scrape of the data, and from our stuff, I would give it a scrape from that and say, hey, okay, this is what I'm gonna have you do. This is what I'm gonna have you work on. This is what we're looking for. Make these, basically come up with creative topics. And like we did yesterday, actually, with the factor, or not factor, with the Dread Necromancer, which I chose the most ridiculous one because it said like ghoul lore, and I ran with a Tokyo Ghoul reference. I couldn't help myself. So anyway, so the thing is that I can do that, but this is a lot of them. I mean, this is, it's 30 of them, right? Now, one might argue that I could probably have already gotten one or two done at the time that I'm sitting here chatting, sure. But even so, the fact of the matter is, and actually, honestly, probably not, because the nature of the beastie, right? Right now, we're actually like, I know we're just kind of like staring at the screen, staring at these existing items. It's one of those like, this is design phase type stuff, because I literally came up with this, that I needed the solution in a dream, right? I got about 3 hours of sleep, and I ended up dreaming about this. It's not exactly the best of science, as Div was pointing out to me, but yeah, it is what it is. So anyway. So we're trying to figure out like how to kind of fit this together. I'm kind of drawing a blank on it because I'm trying to think it through. It's like, Six topics from five class article. And that extracts it from builds and optimized titles. And then that's I don't know if any of those actually really work for our intentions here. Because we have, you know, article title extraction, which the article title extraction basically pulls from the, and I could scroll through, but there's really no point. Pulls from a certain series that were created from the previous ones that generated these article titles, right, in the first place. Which was based on the topics. How that solution basically already ran through and done. You know, had I thought about the monoclass thing and the monoclass core thing as a priority at the time, we would have gone a different way. But not an option. Maybe an option. Should it be an option? Should I? No, because that means rebuilding all those things unnecessarily, and I do say unnecessarily, since we already know that these are monoclass fields, right? So no. Three-stage with titles, topics in, comment in. Title pre-stage with titles. Coming out. No, the thing is that doesn't work either, because that's going to be topic list, content in, comment in, content out. That doesn't work. That's not our intention there. TBD, haha. Got a space for it, clearly, if I need to. SRD title generator, which uses the, I said this uses the content generator, do so, does it, so off the all H2s, so, oh yeah, so basically, it uses the page, actually, so I called it the SRD title generator because that was kind of where I was, where I was focused on with it. But it goes through the H2s, the headings, the second level headings, and pulls the titles, basically from those, and then that uses those as the topic, runs it through GPT units 3.5 to come up with more titles based upon certain rules, right? So that's what that's about, and it's not a terrible idea. It's not a terrible idea, but it doesn't really help us here. So basically, what that does is it boils down, like, it'd be like, hey, we're talking about monsters, right? And they're all H2 titles for the monsters, and then it would go through and make titles for each of those monsters and talk about those monsters. It's actually part of a certain meta content plan that got put to the wayside because of the way things worked out. We'll actually be back to that later, eventually, which is going to be really cool. We actually have some good talks about, already kind of pre-cached about how that goes, because Ghost specifically has a lot of thoughts about how to build encounters, and how to build interesting and creative monsters and stuff like that. So we'll be tapping him and the generalized knowledge of the team, but we'll be tapping him to kind of run with it because he was very interested in talking about that as well. So give him the excuse, which is all this is giving him the excuse to talk about TNT. Oh yeah, it makes sense, right? All right, so let's see what else. What are we looking at here? We're looking at, right now we're thinking that TBD. Pull guide names / section names from title extraction and dump to CSV. That's specifically used for the things that generated the these article. I'm so sorry. The glossaries. Obviously, I need more coffee. The glossary entries, and so it basically pulls to the specific format that the glossary entries need from our cards, and so it's really neat. It works. But in this context, it's not really what we need. So, because it's the title extraction. And guide names / sections, because 5 is guide names, 6 is section names. That's a specific sort of format that we've got there, which obviously doesn't help us in this circumstance. The article creators aren't going to help us as a rule here. Including that hypotheticals there. Never get around to doing the weekend review type things because that was going to be way more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Because of the limited character limitations, specifically. and then our character resources, which you guys saw us run it yesterday, and that is still freaking neat to me. Like that is, I'm sorry, the fact that we figured that, it's so annoying that we didn't figure it out until like literally earlier like before we, like during the process of working up to cut over to SGG, Stellar Dragon Games, the URL there. During that process, this thing like talked about the stat blocks. So because the mentorship follow-up program was like, hey, so is there maybe like a table at the top or something that like really summarizes the points like, of what the build is, and I'm like, holy crap. Holy crap, why did we not think of this back in bloody November? Now, I got a bunch of answers, and I'm not going to say most of them, but long and short, we're probably a bit distracted to not see it. We're sitting too close to the thing to see what it was. But yeah, the stat blocks is what we're looking for, and that'll allow us to do some pretty crazy stuff, but that's a little bit in the future, and not that far in the future. It's a matter of developing the next steps. But basically, we can take the character build, produce the stat blocks, and then take the stat blocks, and actually, stat block is more than that now. I was able to make it way more nuanced and cool, because I did 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, to basically allow us to like build off for those, and then basically we make those into character sheets, and we're going to put those character sheet bundles up on one of the various things, RPG, drive-through RPG. We're going to put those character sheets up on there because they're typically within SRD type stuff, or well, SRD, and therefore open. They're not SRD, but they're open. What's the OGL? Open gaming license. They're technically within legit. Specifically, the XP ratios of those, or like the direct linear stuff there. That's off of the SRD. Like that's not in the SRD. As long as we end up changing out things like if there's a mention of Illithid or Mind Flayer to the more generic versions. I think there's some, but we'll have to, when we go through that phase, we'll have to really check those out. Because I don't want to invoke or accidentally invoke WotC or anyone else against us. Not because of, oh no, they could slam us down or whatever. Well, the SRD is super clear about how that works. If it's technically speaking, there's a term for it. I forget the exact term. It's like not protected, but like the copywritten content, right? The unique content to it. The immediate remediation is a cease and desist, like is a hey, fix your stuff, and there's like a 30-day opportunity to correct it, which again I want to avoid, because again I do respect overall copyrights and all that and that sort of thing. I do have respect for it. Some people might say, well, you leverage AI, you don't therefore have any respect for it, but as I've gone on that tirade before, the long and short, my opinion is simply put, derivatives work is derivative work. And we're talking substantially derivative, where it's like, where did that information come from? If you can tell me exactly where it came from, we'll have a conversation. But if you cannot do so by looking at the derivative work, then go away. Now I know this stuff's still in courts, I know this stuff is still being discussed and all that, but honestly, if you ask me, the just answer to the situation is, can you point out exactly where the information comes from? Not where where you've been told that it's been scraped from or what have you, but exactly word for word where the infringement is occurring. And if the answer is, well, you can't, okay. Or in the case of the image stuff, if you can tell me, like, if you can make an equivalency to another thing, where those themes are, and there are examples for sure, like where it's like a hard, okay, fine, I see where that was taken from, now that it's been pointed out from the original work, we'll say. At that point, that becomes a different discussion entirely. But that's not what we're talking about in this context. So as I was saying, though, for like what we're working on, if there's stuff that for the actual character sheet bundles that we're working on, which will have like profile pictures and stuff like that, the details of the build, and more fleshed out histories that fit within React, is going to be our major value added there. And then, and saving the time from actually having to fill out character sheets, because, for some folks, having to fill out character sheets is a right pain. And I do respect that. I may not be in that category myself, but I do respect that. Anyway, I'm slowly drifting way off topic here, because I got distracted by talking about these builds, all the things and what they kind of are related to. Let's see. Let's talk about the stat box and just how cool that is. I'm still stuck on it. All right. So let's see. This one. Trello card to work perfect. Giant. WordPress from comments with known headings from pre-staged for. View card. Okay. Oh yeah, that's the actual one that's stitches together, and then summary redo, which I never got around to finishing because I kept on having issues with summaries because of 3.5. Not 3.5 ed, but 3.5 turbo. It's funny how it works. Of GPT. Let's see, and then clear all comments from the cars I'm holding because it was tossing, and then define known something. I have no idea what define known meant. Apparently, I went a little crazy when I was doing that one. Let me check my other source if I've got an answer for it. Nope. And so that's 994. So utilities 4. Utilities 3. Utilities 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 4 define known. I don't know. it clearly, I'm gonna just like put a bunch of question marks. Define known question mark. Look, these are notes for myself. So yeah. All right. Let's work on this. So what is our goal? Our goal here is to take the prompts. Our goal here is to take the title of the situation, these titles. So our goal is to take these titles, the monoclass, the healer monoclass, or the monoclass, and the core, and these articles, and come up with more specific results. And so if I go to, say, one of my earlier chats, which will remain off screen because there's a bunch of things there that well, it's messy. All right, so so what I need from them is I need to copy the I need to copy the oh, gotcha. All right. And do I need to invoke GPT on this? Yeah, I need to invoke GPT on this, unfortunately. All right, because this is a generative process, right? So, not a constructive process. As in, basically, I need to have it where it'll get data and then process it and come up with ideas. So that means that I'm gonna actually have to go a route that I haven't gone in a very long while, it turns out. I need to reopen my oh, excuse me. I need to reopen my my prompts because I haven't used them, as I said, in a while. So I mean, I've used them. I set them up, but it's one of those things where you get them set up, well enough, and the fun part is that. And we'll scroll down here. Past Trello updates 1, Trello card finished. I feel like I need to reorganize some of this stuff, but anyway, to my next major element. And so in Trello, as you saw, or as you see, there's all those various custom fields. Those custom fields are then in turn referable to as by certain things. The niche, the topic, the series, the action, and so on, that are in turn used in the prompts to add variability to those prompts. So it allows an increased flexibility with dealing with what's known as scalable content files, where we know that we're going to have certain core parts of the title. For example, I know that we're talking about D&D 3.5. I know that of the 5, we're talking about a specific class. I do not know until I'm told. I do not know that what the niche is necessarily, although in this case it's like, well, I know it's 3.5 or it's character build or something like that. Same thing with topic, same thing with series, same thing with action, title, product, website itself, which the thing is that I didn't I didn't know that I was going to have to scale it. Like I was saying yesterday, you never know. And it's the sort of thing where I was kind of planning on scaling to a different direction eventually, where this would go to where I would be talking about other topics. I mean, completely other topics. As you can see, I kind of dovetailed or touched. We kind of started touching around with 3D printing as a topic matter that we were working with, and it's a really great idea. I want to be able to walk into where we start talking about 3D printing and doing the research there and all that. And other matters, because this stuff is really, really cool. And using STLs and that sort of thing. But that being said, unfortunately, that was what we were working on, kind of in the direction-wise before the situation with that required us to effectively jump ship and start with the Stellar Dragon Games process. Lots of plans that got put to the wayside for basically a couple of months after Google decided to kind of throw us to the wayside, throw us out like that. So, no, I'm not excessively bitter, just a little bit bitter, just a tiny bit bitter about that one. Look, we had all these plans. It was going to be really cool stuff, really, really, really cool stuff, and we were this close to greatness, to borrow from a certain Star Wars, right? And they took us away from us. Why? Why did they take it away from us? Because we didn't step in line with what their perceived notion of quality was on it. When we were doing that, you were doing a favor, and I say favor like as in not like a gratis sort of thing, but we were doing a service. We were performing maybe not in the best way. And I'll give that. Not necessarily the best way, but we were performing a service by connecting people with the concepts that we were playing with here. And then along comes a spider that says, yeah, well, you're not doing it good enough. You can go away now. For the sake of trying. You want to talk about like kind of messed up stuff, man. It's tiresome. Anyway, sorry about that particular ramble. It's still on my lips as I'm trying to recover from what happened there. Which is all only my fault, because it's how that works, right? I can blame no one but myself. So I'm looking at specifically the prompt that we were looking at before, because we're building out a new, and those helpers, I gotta figure out. So we're building out, and I'm gonna fill in this one, the title generator. So we're gonna fill this out as generate new. Do I want to give the title generator, or do I want new content plan? It's more content plan level stuff. No, it's the content. Well. Let me check something. Oh, shoot. Oh, that's the SRD. I don't know why I opened that. But it's fine. Again, we're going some deep dive levels in like my processes here. As so far as they've been developed over time. Yes. hopefully that's not too small. So, now what we're looking at here is the yeah. So we're looking at the actually the SRD plan, and I'm gonna drag it down here to the backfire funnel. I'm definitely gonna have to check that now. Right, I don't know what's going on with that one. I don't like that song. It's been a long time since we have parted ways. It's like I've lived through all these years still waiting. Nope, not doing that one. I don't even know what that line, that opening line there is just not hitting me in the right way. I can't. I got too many of my own ghosts, right? Let me see one more thing. Oh yeah, that didn't work. Alright, that's at least legible for you. Alright, so as I was looking, so as I said before, this one's actually the wrong one. This one, I'm looking at the, and this kind of gives you an example, a more direct example of what I was talking about earlier with how we've got these placeholders that are related to the scraped source data, the source itself, and kind of that sort of thing. And so this is my very rough outgo. Like this is like, it repeats the summation for the various sections in it, and then it has an introduction and conclusion, and then it tacks on actually. Process-wise, it tacks on a FAQ summary, which goes atop, and then 3 images props for one in the middle, center, and bottom. Average cost per article is like maybe a quarter, as a result of using 3.5, but the article quality was, honestly, I got what I paid for. And it was, it was a cool idea, and it was a really like a learning experience, right? That's mostly what it was a learning experience. I just wish that it wouldn't have ended up costing as much as it did overall for like the momentum and the traffic that we, that we lost. And maybe something I'm doing something wrong, but maybe I did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's one of those spots. So, point on hand. So this one was not the one I meant to open up actually, but it still was a good point to bring up. That's kind of how, I ended up developing a really cool like recursive process, ultimately for how that works out. So the one that I was actually aiming at open was that one. It was, and I marked it here, prompts title. Open, don't execute. All right, so now we can see this one. And you can see how this one pulls out. See, this is the very basic one. Actually, I don't think it's even the correct one at this stage. Let me look at my configs for the titles, because I know I did some really cool variability stuff. So those are the title, or the ones that have issues. No, those aren't the ones that have issues. Those are basically I processed out the slugs for the 5 groups this morning. So. And this one's kind of, what we're looking at right now. And actually, this is what we're actually kind of starting to look for. Excuse me. Apparently, someone hasn't been talking enough in general, and therefore, talking for like 2-3 days straight is a little bit too much for me. Which is fine, actually. It's a good vocal exercise, right? Get my vocal cords back into being able to do stuff. So yeah, so I actually use different prompts, different ones. But we don't need GPT on this one, which is why this one is aiming at the prompt style we were just looking at. Same thing with these two. You don't need GPT because they're literally just extracting the already existing from the cards. And then I said before, I can't spell apparently, which is fine. fixed. All right, bother me. Fixed. Let's see. Review of reference books. Oh man, those. I want to get back to doing. I want to get that one working, but that's a definitely different problem. Because basically, what happens is that with the guides, like with all these build guides, you have implicit reference books, and so that dovetails back around to saying here's this guy, here's this character stuff, and you can walk it back around. Also, why is it not rude? Give me a second. I need to fix something here because that should very much so. Stream mode should be on, so that shouldn't have pinged. I mean, I'm glad it did ping because it kind of caught my attention to something, but it should not have pinged. Do that. Streamer mode. Enable streamer mode. Alright, disable sounds. Do not disable notifications because y'all can't see my notifications. But the sounds you can hear. That's the part that's like, I don't want you to have to suffer through that. Alright, where were we? So I was looking at the wrong thing. So you're trying to look for. I'm trying to look for the right title one here, which then I have to cross-reference, and this shows slightly bad, notes on mine. But hey, at least I know which submodes are available, right? To this guy, and let's see, that's the extract, like I was saying. 3 is actually not to be determined, but the reference books I was talking about. So actually, I'm going to rewrite that. So I'm not going to use submode 3 for this because submode 3 I was actually collectively using the reference books, right? So submode 3 was kind of focused on for thematically the reference books here and here. So well, again, I don't know if I would call this necessarily a title problem, where it's like it kind of is, but it's less it's more of a content type problem. So now I might argue that I'm actually probably automating something that doesn't need to be automated because it's only effectively a do this in mass and the process itself has to be handheld. It's one of those like I'm an hour and a half in, 2 hours into the process thinking about how to kind of get this thing to do its thing and going, maybe an hour in at this point, plus other time, maybe it might be better just to do it, over messing around with this. No, that'd be less fun. Let's go with automation. Always gonna take me another hour or 2 hours to automate it. Where I would already have like half of them, more than half of them done or something like that. Let's see. So if I go with mode 2, now I just gotta think about how I want to work it. Because like effectively the fun part about this is that so for the titles themselves, right? I'll go back over to here. The titles themselves, right? The titles themselves here, right? That's weird. I don't know what that's about. Oh, I know what that's about. Did some big tripping to myself. So if I go back over to the article planning stuff, right, and I copy these to where did I put my kid at? If I copy these to here as just kind of a rough thing, right? And I'll show you as the cake back again. So if I grab those, right, and I'm looking at it, the one thing that I'm gonna be changing on all of these is like the model class to something else, right? Except for this guy. Why is this guy here? Ah, crud. Let's check out the monk dungeon lord. Biscuit sauce. Some days are indeed harder than others, and as I said, these ones I was just getting over for completion's sake. Yeah, they say core only, but it's dungeon lord. Dungeon lord? That's a problem. Yeah, something's weird there. Because the Dungeon Lord is a different one. So I don't know what happened in this, but how do I remediate it? I think. Well, I know the thing is that I say thing. It's more like a pull it up from one of my resources because I've got multiple copies of that led to the generation of these things. So they're not just like in isolation. I just need to think about which one I want to rank for, which one's authoritative, as it were. G&D 3.5 monk. Is core or the model class? Core only. It was core. Alright, so it doesn't actually exist on this one. Oh, that's a interesting conundrum. Very interesting conundrum. Not very conducive either. Something weird happened. Something very weird happened indeed. And this is kind of why, it's why you go through and kind of check everything when, yeah, there's a lot of automation. I know, and again, that causes some people chafing. Because I'm doing the work to basically hand it off to something else in this case, but arguably historically would have been to someone else, right? An intern or someone who's underpaid. In any case, and instead I do the work to take the process, build that process, and then give it to a machine. I see nothing wrong with this. So that's what we're doing. And but let's go with I am totally freezing up on what to do in this situation. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I know what I'm trying to aim at, but my level of exhaustion is so extensive that the ability to process is notably compromised. I know it's a lame excuse, but hey, I'm beyond exhausted is a legitimate point at times. All right, so we're going with summary. Going with where did I put that at? This is after I say, oh yeah, I've got all of these loads of where everything's at. I can't. Article names. That would make sense. There's where I would put articles, because these are the ones from before I discovered slash came up with this idea. What is this one? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's from a little neat script that I was messing around with. Those archives, this old. Okay, well, this one needs to be corrected properly in our carts, because that would be a problem. So I need to make sure I grab that guy, or that guy. Core Lord. Online. So that one's that. Well, I made a few mistakes making this. Oh, page not found. Here's our switch hitter. Oh, this is the one that we were just looking at. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I thought I'd fixed all those. Well, that's one of the other reasons why we need to go through and like do the actual editorial. But that does bring something I made an assumption of come to light that needs to be fixed. Okay, that should get all of those anomalies corrected there as well. Now, just trying to think it through. I think that my best bet here, actually, despite myself, just close wrong. Despite myself, will be to physically go through all of these. Just kind of spot check all of them. Oops. I didn't say that this stuff would be glamorous or super duper interesting, but that it would get done. So that is why it's called work, right? Some sort of tripe like that. But we just gotta do what we gotta do. And since I discovered some anomalies, right, I need to make sure that nothing is anomalous. Because when we run through automation, well, those anomalies will be vicious. And we want to avoid that viciousness. Oh, see? Alright, come back to you later. So that was the swashbuckler. Swashbuckler monoclass D 3.5. What the? capital. I don't think you should be case sensitive. No way they're case. That doesn't make sense. The URL. Why would they be case sensitive? Am I missing something here? No. Okay. Cool. I'm just one of those things. Oh, I see now. Swashbuckler. Oh, mercy me. Swashbuckler. Swashbuckler. One character is the world. Alright, so now well, I think that for the swashbuckler, that's the typo. I don't think I need to completely redo it. Could be wrong, but I don't feel like I should, so I'm not going to. Because, like I was saying, it's one character letter, right? In one spot, so. Yep, that's great. Buckler. There we go. Swashbuckler. So now that that's fixed, another one should be fixed too. See if anyone's saying anything wrong. Oh. We have the situation where we're looking at that. Now we're looking over here. Alright. So this stuff is actually out of date now, so we're gonna delete it. And go back over to oops. To the Discord or the lists. And paste it back. Alright, so now we have that, which is a pretty strongly curated list. It should be pretty good for us. And I'm still debating because, like, on one hand, I really want to bring these in line before I push them up to my other person to kind of work on them. But the other hand is, oh, that they haven't reached out to me yet, so I don't think they're operational quite yet. So, which means that I'm not worried about, you know, rushing it faster than I should for their sake. So we got these guys here, and let's go back to the base. I'm just trying to think of which one of my existing ones would serve me best. So that's why we were looking over here, because I had to make sure that I had to curate them first, right, to make sure that they're all good to go for what we're about to do, because we're about to use we're going to use 3.5 really does fine for this sort of thing, with proper guidance. So we're generally good for using that here. And I'm just looking at to see if that my titles here, or if my subsections are adequate to solve, or has a partial solution, to then I can then in turn pull over my to correct my issue, because I don't think that any of these ones actually will So if I recall correctly, and we look at the subsection 1.1 or 1.0, that's from the existing 5 builds from the original like full documents, which does not apply here because we've just got the 1. Yeah, which means that what I should do is I should run off a new one using my JSON format. And I am actually going to put that in the content plan section because this is more, again, this is more a content plan problem because like it's topics, titles. I mean, it's titles though that I'm not looking at though. So let's see. Glossary. All right, then I need to go up to my configs. I should already have everything I need there for it, so that I went with 1.7. So that would be in turn elif submode is submode equals 7 colon enter path in Oh, that one doesn't have a real prompt because it doesn't need one. But path in this context is going to be out the glossary. I really need to make these things more or less rather specific, but that's a future me problem right now. All right, so let's see, WordPress name in, it's the SUG one, keyings, the SUG, board ID in, the article generator, no, maybe, no, we'll leave it as default. Board ID in. List in, however, I will go with list ID title. Well, this is already defined, generally speaking, as the list ID title, which is the title. Which one is it? List ID title. 3 stage for titles. Okay. All right, and then prompt in. Prompt in. Prompts title underscore, because this is going to be a new one. New. Let's see, new title, new. Topic. Which I am actually going to copy or duplicate, save as, whatever the word is. File save as. Copy that guy there. Prompts title new. Anyway, new typo, new cover. I don't know words. Clearly, somebody needs sleep. All right. So anyway, so using the following data scraped from the source headings. In this context, I'm not going to go with source headings. I'm going to go source data because I want. It's just, the reason why I was using the headings before explicitly was I wanted to like limit down the number of characters that 3.5 was having to deal with. And as you can see, my default, or as you can't see because it's on the other screen, my default here is the GPT model 3.5. All of like my defaults are the 3.5 model because it's so much cheaper, but it's also, it's only useful for pretty mundane or pseudo crazy tasks, like this, where it's like, hey, here's a crazy out there title sort of thing, and then choose between between X number of them, which is what we're going to be doing here. Is that we're going to go, let's see, to go topic. Let's see, I'll put in JSON and bullet list. Please determine the overall guide topic, and then required format, names, guide topic, and then title ideas. Please produce. Wow, I did static definition this time. Please produce title ideas for these 5 build topic or builds for. Please produce 10 title ideas. Okay. Build name ideas. There's 10 build name ideas for these 5 build for this build. This build. And there's none of that. Using the related section, using I don't think we need as much setup there. I think that build name idea, using the following website data scraped from the source, please determine the overall guide topic. Overall build topic. And provide 10 new build names. 10 new, more descriptive build names. UG. Bad touch. So let's see. All right, so now, Oh, that is why. Oh, I should have done that. Sorry about that, Ian. Oh, whoa, that's got way too much hype. Nope. Don't know what's going on there. Don't want it. No, thank you. And we'll have it produce build ideas, build name ideas. Okay. For these build names. Using related this section of the clear title, use a numerical list and topic part for more details. I'll put JSON in the bullet list. Alright. See if there's no filing for this is other rules I was talking about earlier. That's not essential. Why'd you pull the trigger? You won't find the light in the smoke and mirror. Alright, so now you can't see it because again that's off screen, but it's the same sort of idea of what's here, but we're adding an additional section, which is this guy right here, which I can definitely share because it's not controlled information. So basically adding an LF to, I need to get around to actually like one of my plans, and I might do this later on, it's one of those things where it's a major project, though it's like a super major project because I got stuck in using LF trees, I want to get around to using like cases and stuff like that, more advanced techniques. Again, it was one of those ones which just like, I need to get this thing working, so if else if so on, made the most sense at the time. Alright, it was just the easiest one. Again, familiar with casing and cases and all that stuff, and it made more sense, but it was like, yeah, but so the if trees was just, it was just in front of me, right? Although I did use some recursion, so that's cool. Anyway, let's see. So now we've got the LF mode 7. So I'm gonna go down to the itself. Let me get that code back up here for you. Did I accidentally minimize that? I totally accidentally minimized that. That's silly of me. Not that it matters, because we weren't looking at it. Alright. Yeah, so coding needs stuff. Alright, so yeah, sorry about that. I'm not bored, I swear, I'm just tired. So we already got our entry for the submode 7 there, and actually I need to go add that to my other documentation too. Just there specifically is basically a copy. Like this mainline one is my actual like authoritative. I had to make that declaration, but I have it on the other one for my convenience too, just in case, so I don't have to go back and forth. Alright, so now we have a new submode 7. So we're 1.7. So we're now looking, so if mode's in 1, okay, we're here. No much of submodes. So this is a Trello updates, right? So it's pretty straightforward. Trello card finish. Mode 1, if title, do the thing. When it's finished, it'll try and link it back to the content line, which is okay. I think it fails though on average because I botched something and I never got around to fixing it. And I don't really care either. We're not dealing with those. We're not dealing with those. All right, to our main, which again, this is probably like spaghetti freaking programming, but you know what? If it works, it works. That's where a lot of, all right, so this one is our if mode 1 and submode 1.2. So 1.2 is our mode 1 submode 1.2. Let's go with it. I guess I think I have it in the cade there, right? Mode 1, 1.2. So mode 2, 1.2 topic list, and that is from our extract titles. All right, so that's where we're not pull the names from ready for title extraction. Okay, this is our extraction stuff. This is where we bypass the effectively we bypass or don't need to go into our GPT modules because we're just literally processing data that was generated from GPT. So yeah, and as you can see, when we're done with it, once we're done here, we punch out part 4. This is actually building the tables for the individual build guides. Utilities new from orbit, where we clear up the comments for a card because rebuilding stuff, like I said, I'm lazy and it nukes the living crap out of the cards. Let's see, utility using 0GPT to try and like figure out if it looks. Basically, the goal here is to have readable text, and so one of the biggest problems with API or with LLM built content is that it has a bunch of nonisms that are useless and fluff, and it's just it's one of those things. Working with it, you can see it, right, and it's not helpful for the reader. It's just there because it's what's expected to be there, sort of thing. And the GPT wants to put in those things because, when I say this, there's a reason why, historically speaking, scribes would add additional or dots and additional complications, additional letters, specifically the European type stuff. I think it was French or something like that, where they add the U's and stuff like that, all the flourishes and all of that, so they could charge more per word. Well, those traditions don't completely go away, and now we've got something that basically is running off of the existing traditions and the momentum and the directory that was already made. What ends up happening is that GPT ends up running into those, like running off of the same ideas. Just full stop bar none. So, all right, so now we're getting to the good stuff here. So scrape the data and using format it using the WordPress API. And I don't think I fully have all the permissions yet, and I'll have to troubleshoot that offline because it ends up invoking areas that are involving passwords and stuff like that. So that gets put to the side. And also I have a failover methodology in case it fails. Originally I would just take it and be like, it's fine or not, but in case it fails, like if it doesn't succeed in pulling the response from the WordPress client, it'll try again using the scraper. So I actually had a bit of resiliency there after it was failing when we covered over to SDG, because it basically it was starting to get like I couldn't work. I couldn't get my content, my HTML content from what we were working for there. So that's kind of one of those things. So it's one of those. The code basically became more flexible because I had to. Necessity is the mother of invention. Something goofy like that, Alright. And now here are title generator, HTML content title generator. So this one's the one that's processing the pull. Let's see, 5.6, pull the name section from it. Well, that one we still need to. It's not just purely Trello. It pulls the extraction there. Now we have a new LF. Again, I really want to replace this with cases. I just haven't been able to because sub mode is equal to 7. Alright. You can see how it actually worked, or actually in my dedicated sections here. You can see how I had already kind of built in like the placeholder and the placeholders for stuff that I was working on. It's unfortunate that I couldn't get quite back to those yet. And that's why I put the placeholders, because I'll be able to come back to them later on. Let's see. Okay, so source data. Let's see. Actually, we'll do this. generate new titles. That pulls our HTML content, which is, which site are we using for HTML content? I believe we are using website source. So we're using source for it. Oh yeah, because as a rule, when we're generating the content, even though we have the web slug proposed, we're not pulling from the web slug because that'd be self-referential. We're pulling from our source. Now for my build here with it, I've given it one source. And honestly, what I should do is figure out a way to add more sources. And add more flexible sources. This is one of my big pushes or big things, takeaways from the other thing is I need to basically figure out how to pull more sources. So, and it's one of those things I'll figure it out. It's just I didn't get around to it because I had no purpose to it. Right? But now that I've got stuff like that I've got here, pulling more sources may come in handy. There are certain hypotheticals where I move away from what I've been using and start using my own sort of arrangements. And so instead of using this new stuff, I can actually go back to the way I want it to, which would allow me to have basically unlimited productivity. But I'm going to keep the training wheels on for now, just because, again, for one thing, I'm paying for it, but for another thing, it's a effective choice. Let me see. So now we have where we've scraped our data. We know where our data is coming from. We know that it's from our given source information. Okay. And so now these are the other sections. Placeholder for we did the review. Actually, while I'm reading past here, actually. Be a little bit clearer about what this one is. Oops, that's not right. Class grab and book list build. Crap, we kind of needed that game over. Judge me, people. You'll notice that even though we have earlier, we actually do have submode 1.2 defined. Because what we're doing with it, we actually don't need a whole bunch of things. We don't need to have, or we're doing it elsewhere where it's not defined down here because it's handled earlier. So you scrape it, follow up. This follow up is a recursive recursive function or action to kind of where we're doing, as I said, recursively. To kind of go through and do section by section. It's the sort of thing where for the article builds, you had section by section with the comments, and so the number of sections could be an indefinite number of sections. So even though I had a certain defined number of sections for my general posts, I would have certain things like how I was handling the SRD, like the monster manual. It was not the best done, but it could have an unlimited number of sections. So since I couldn't know how many sections I would have, having recursion to process through each section, where they're all using the same standard format with the variables changed out each iteration based upon the additional information. It was a really organic. It is a really organic, or not organic, a good flow through, right, of a solution. And I like recursion. Just like the next thing, I like recursion. It's one of those things where if you do it wrong, everything breaks, but if you do it right, it's beautiful. And I was able to pull it off for this particular solution. So I did like it. And again, I do like solutions. All right, so we finished our defining our variables. Cool. And now because we've defined, you know, our placeholders are from our Trello card, right? Which we've pulled in there. Number of sections, length equals updated JSON. As you can see, I've got it where that allows as many sections are in the JSON. And in this case, we have for our guy there 3, so that would be 3. So we're running through 3 iterations. There are failure conditions that occur where we get bad data from GPT, and so we have to reattempt because it's badly formed. Now, after many iterations, I figured out a good way to basically have G 3.5 Turbo properly put out our JSON formats. It was a lot to get there, not gonna lie. And we want JSON because then we can interpret it more programmatically. JSON's are it's a well-known defined sort of narrowly defined sort of a format. So with particular syntax and all of that. So that's why I ended up using JSON for it. There's probably better ones to use, I know, but JSON was the easiest kind of low-hanging fruit. And at the time, I was working on or supporting Teams, which has JSON configuration. So it's just one of those it kind of dovetails into stuff I was already playing with and stuff. So also a massive pain in the neck to work with too, but because to try and figure it out and try and play with it, it's it was fun. But all right, so then again we have more hooks on. So we're getting to where we're going to need to do another modification here. So let's see, outer counter is 1 and not mode is 2. In other words, we don't care. We're in our first run. What do we do? If mode is 0, if mode is 1, okay. Formatted response is that. Otherwise, formatted response is that. So in other words, our default as the formatted response is changed based upon if it's the one. If it's mode 2, we're not doing mode 2. Mode 4, not doing mode 4. Let's change that song. I don't know why. I just don't really feel that one. And then outer counter 2. If it's 2, mode 0. Yeah, we're still not really caring there. And then, as said before, our default overall is just to do it where we just take the formatted response after parsing the response from the assistant. In other words, the agent, the GPT. And then our defaults so far work. If it fails, let's see if we can fix it. We've got some failure over remediation options. If it's not the first section, well, the thread's kind of broken and it's all done. And if we can try it, if it's not, when we try it, it ends up, we can try and figure it, not sure how. Hey, if it works, it works. Failed, retry, and then if we get to the previous if, then we're good. So basically, if we get that far out, if this is done, if this works out, we don't encounter our scenarios that cause us to continue or break early, then we can get out. So, and then if it's game over, it broke, so let's cancel and go to the next because we don't have time for that. And also, I wanted to be able to idly run it for larger batches, like we're going to do here, ultimately. I say idly run it, it's more like leave it over on the side with maintenance or with an eyeball on it to watch. All right, so now where we're actively updating the card, if mode is 02, so we're mode 1, we don't care. If outer counter is 2, otherwise we're just doing the default. If is 345, outer counter is 345, mode 2, so mode 1. Very specific, as you can see, we go for the body segment for 2-1. And then otherwise that, out of bounds, and then there's our if name is equal to main, so if we're the primary, if it's the evocation over. Alright, so that looks like that's pretty good. As long as we didn't screw up our JSON formatting, it should be alright. And this was 4.7, and let's go back all the way up to the top here, because I did mark it down, 4.7, and so that's generate new title from glossary. And I failed. And that's our default, and our default is this is 4.7. No, it was 2. I'm sorry, it was 2.7. well, that's silly of me. Is it silly? What did I do? Should be 2-7. No, 1-7. My bad. So 1-7. There it is. Okay, no, I didn't do the thing. I mean, I did the other thing. All right, pre-stage for title. All right, so copy that guy. And then from pre-stage for title, because that's the it's the silly error. Because if I don't have the note there, then I'm kind of doing guesswork to where it starts out, and especially when I'm tired, right? All right, so pre-stage for titles. So move these guys. Move all these cars to pre-stage for title. All right, I'll move over to pre-stage for title. It took another hour. Like I said, it'd be another hour before it'd be ready to run the next one. So it's not 4-7. It's 1-7, right? Yes. All right. There. What? I have errors. Okay, that's fun. All right, so 269. There's a strange error there, so let's first go linear by linear. 269 times 2, 271. It's calling it an invalid escape sequence. What? And I'm printing something. There we go, 269. Let's see what it's saying. Actually, so that would be that. I have to escape the escape because I wanted to be fancy. This is why I'm not fancy, right? Because I apparently made a mistake there that wasn't being caught before. Weird. Weird. That actually was out there and it wasn't getting caught before. Wait, where are we at? Heading in section source content. Generate select for the H2 heading. But weird that didn't catch before. Really weird that didn't catch before. Did I? Oh well, it's fine. It is fine. All right. Let's see. Then I get an error on line 1211 in module, 941 in main. Scraper format scraped fail, and then in scraper, if title is scraped data, argument of item type none type is not valid. All right, so we're looking at. Scraper module 273. If title and script data, format of data, script data, title. If title and script data, argument of type none type is not iterable. Alright. And scrape data. Actually, it should do the other way around. Scrape data and title and scrape data. Something else is going wrong here. Oh, that's the source of error. Something else is going wrong now. Let's trace that stack back up a little bit there. 941. Format script data, source data. And I'm confirming that's in locals and it's not 2 or 3 or 9 instead of 9. Okay. Step that back up a little further to 12, 11. Also there, so 12, 11. Where's at the end? Yeah, that's the call for main. Okay. So call for main and 941. Then so formatted source data is throwing an error because format scrape data source data is coming up as main or as none rather. There are a number of scenarios where source data gets defined as none. That's bad on my part, but that's okay. So 7. So source data is coming up as none. So source data is from HTML content. HTML content is HTML content displays. It's not empty. It can't be empty if HTML content. So what is going on? And the P response HTML script variable. Am I going crazy? What am I doing wrong here? And back down here, 270. All right. Well, that's why we keep those escape sequences in there, or those sequences in there, so I can see stuff like that. Found 27 cards. List. No page for factory. Oh, I swear if I missed something here, I'm going to lose my pepper volume. No page with identifier, block / glossary, back to tone, monoclass, no response. Okay. Well, no, that's fine. But then scrape data is none. What am I doing wrong here? I feel like the problem that I'm running into is that I'm using a old mechanism and running afoul of it as a result. So this is receiving, and I kind of guessed it already. So this is receiving, format scrape data is receiving no data. It's receiving scrape data is none. So now HTML content though has to equal something. Okay. Because we got through here, right? Right? Because this one, topic optimized, I might have to call it here soon, to be honest with you. Because it's one of those, like, I'm feeling it, you know? I'm fading fast. hell am I doing there? Source headings equals source heading data. I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on here with that. It's like I'm trying to figure out if because this feels like this is what's happening here is this is old. And so I did something wrong here. And like, because it's format scrape data that's getting broken. And we're invoking in scraper, we're invoking this guy here. Which means we're going scrape WordPress. Wait a second. Shouldn't that just equal HTML content now? I think it should just equal HTML content now. The HTML content. No, HTML content's that. But I feel like scrape WordPress content specifically is only useful. See, scrape website is already being used. I'm trying to scrape the scrape, which that does not work. So let's see, scrape website, return extracted info. Okay. So clearly we are scraping the data. What we need, I guess, is to format the data. And that's where we get into these calls, the extract website data. Which I feel like that's overcomplicating stuff, because I remember that was a pretty deep play itself. So I need to find the this one's no, that's that one up there. I'm gonna try this. I don't know if I don't know if I actually already solved this problem already. And that's the problem with like a little bit it's one of those like there are certain notes that are on the edge of it. All right, let's try and run. See what happens here. It's like clearly what I was running before was already being done earlier in the thing, so I was trying to scrape from scrapes, which that doesn't make sense. So it's failed there. No. Men type is not subscriptable. So heading in source data headings content. Men type is not subscriptable. If anybody is watching, they're sitting there screaming at me, this problem right here. But they're not willing to type it and tell me because they don't want to be like that. Which is fair. But then again, I know it's my problem, my solution, right? But still. What am I missing here? Because it's saying that I need to check. I know HTML. I know it has to be getting HTML content though, right? Because I'm getting down there, and I now know I'm getting there. But I should search. Or I should print HTML content. I know it's not that far away. It's be here somewhere. So response is nil. Oh, but I have a response. Alright. So it does have it did print. Okay.
issues, I'll take them and I'll make them mine. Don't get caught up in your feelings, just feel it. It's okay if you wanna cry. So just lay down beside me, give me all your issues, I'll take them and I'll make them mine. Don't get caught up in your feelings, just feel it. It's okay if you wanna cry.
If this works, I am going to feel so silly. $271 apparently didn't invalid. Oh no! Why is everything so broken right now? Goodness gracious me. Alright, it was working, and now it's not. Alright, so this one is file run, and it's in 940 something. 941, right? Yeah, that's right. Alright. Scraper format, scrape data, source heading. Cannot access a local variable where it is not associated with a value. So source data. Oh, you know why that happens? Because somebody intentionally didn't define a title or the headings, because somebody didn't care about the headings. That somebody is me, and that somebody is also the right fool as well. All right, HTML content. And we're gonna go with source data things. That I know is messy, and honestly, it's one of those spots where, like, if I have WordPress content ones that are expecting WordPress content, they'll work if they've got WordPress, and if they don't, like if the WordPress fails, but they're expecting WordPress, it'll fail. I need to add some branching trees to this logic, and I am not going to do it right now. Because, like, it's the spot where, on the high level, if I get WordPress, I have access to the administrative and stuff. If I don't have WordPress, well, not so good. All right, so this is using the 3.5. You can already see build names, mysterious jack of all trades, and you can see how it's developing it. Although there's a problem. That's fine. I'll fix it in post, basically, because the dashes easily are either dots or no, they're not. But that's okay. Well, it's one of those things that gets weird, and I can fix it. Although I think it failed on recognizing what I was trying to do. It totally failed when I was recognizing what I was trying to do. It's like, look at those. Yeah, it's still using a monoclass. Although. Yeah, I'm gonna give it another try because I got an idea of how to make that work the way I want it to. Where are we at? No, it doesn't help that you couldn't see that. I actually did get it running. Back to Kate. So let's see, using the word source data. Please determine the overall build topic by 10 more descriptive build names. And I should not have deleted them, but that's okay, because I can look back at the actual outputs, because they're pretty concise. Does it not? Did it not do it? Oh, there we go. Okay. The build names, and then please provide software. previously generated. Alright, see how it plays. Yeah, so I don't know if you caught the gist of those build names that kind of came up with. They were neat. Like they were, you know, it's simple, concise, like to the point. Because again, 3.5 turbo is good for stuff like that. It's just like, what's the turbo fire net definition or idea here that you can run with? So, like for example, it's come up with things like the cunning Swiss Army knife or the ingenious factotum specialist, which again it repeats it, which will get knocked out in the SEO correction. But you sorry son of a biscuit. Yeah, it failed at it because like then I'll show you what it did. And so it kind of went a little weird here. And again, I didn't give it the chance to, but it's like build name, and then it's like the Urban Guardian's adaptability, full adaptive Urban Guardian. It's kind of, again, it would correct that in the next one. But I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the kind of the seed there. So you can kind of see I was like, oh, it's kind of Swiss Army. It's skillful changeling, victim. Jack of all trades, and so on, and it's like it gets the idea pretty straightforward. But this one, it's like again these ones are supposed to be kind of bad sounding, but the fact that it said build name is like that is clearly not what we're looking for, and that needs to be fixed in the prompts. So let me see. And a reminder of what I'm looking for here. So these are, oh, it also dropped. That's convenient. Really easy to know I shouldn't. So we're looking for product, which was monoclass in this one. Which it shouldn't be. It should be series, I think. Let's see. Please name the related specific titles. Use no. Let's see. Please provide titles for the additional generated using related sections for topic. Topic is D&D 2.435. And build name, so it should be topic. Series. It shouldn't have three, it should have two. Topic, series, build name. Check this out a little bit. I don't have the feeling I'm looking for. It still is like mumbly. Topic. Alright, a little bit less talky. We're having enough problems. Oh wow. The funny thing is that some people will say, "Oh yeah, it does not, you know, it can correct for typos and stuff like that," and it can and it does, except the problem is, it doesn't. Like the titles will having typos will cause the GPT agent to stumble a little bit by what I've seen, especially for 3.5 turbo, but in general it'll cause it to stumble a little bit. It'll basically have to spend processing time and basically waste processing time. Being proper, is the way to be on that. Let's see. Again, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna. Luckily, as I said before, the 3.5 is barely forgiving on it. So, or not 3.5. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. All right, let's try it again. Or the cost-wise for 3.5 is fairly forgiving, so it's not like I'm spending gobs of cash on failing. No, I already did that. Thanks. I'm spending gobs of cash on failing a different direction. Alright, let's see what we're doing. Ingenious spectator and master of all trades. Cool. It should kind of sort of work here. Jack of all skills. Okay, adroit factotum. Alright, build name 1. I'm gonna let it run, but I don't think it's going. I'm getting there. It's just I'm trying to implement a weird thing that's not working. So let me think about how to do this. Because clearly what's happening with the thing is that it's either not getting the information, or it's not, it's not properly kind of, because it should be part of the same conversation, right? In fact, I'm certain it's part of the same conversation looking at the console output, and how I've got it arranged. So, but for some reason it's not wanting to like keep the thing, and I think I already encountered a built-in one way with this, and I just don't remember what it was. May have been like where I put a previous response, because there's the formatted response stuff, right? So we get the agent formatted response, which is what we get here. I believe there was a previous line or something like that in this code that I put here. Let's see. Previous variable previous equal section. Is this always engaged? Previous equals formatted response. Okay, so that means I do have that viable option there, because I am smart. It's more like I ran into the problem before, right? So let's see. Please produce for the from these builds, these build names. Previously on Batman. Please produce title ideas from these build names. Provide the section with a clear title. And finally, title. Previous generated titles. Now let's see. I did something stupid. Now finally apply the following to these titles. SEO optimization guide, do the thing. Hopefully I'm not breaking the bank by using the previous titles, but I don't think I would be by using the previous the previous formatted response, because that's a like specifically formatted response. I could be doing it wrong and it could screw everything up, or it could make everything awesome. I don't know. Let's find out. Okay. Iteration 1. Alright, professional. Whoa, it's going fast. Professionals changing the factotum, a jack and all trades goes. Let's go. Let's look here. Bro. Really? Really? What's so hard to understand about what I'm asking you to do? Oh. Well, I mean, it's kind of working, but it's not working as well as it should be. And I don't want to use 4 turbo for this, to be honest with you. So I gotta figure out how to make this thing work. Because I know I can get it to work, but I think I know one of the things that's not working out here. And I need to look at something I did earlier. That's a neat one. Let's take a look, see here. What's the thing I'm looking for? I'm looking for a previous conversation. And again, it was with, 4 turbo. But it should give me the idea I'm looking for here. Maybe. There we go. Did I? I better not have. No, I did not. There's no way I did. Okay. See if that does better for it. Nothing would it. Let's see, no pages found. That's fine. As I said before, we're running the script itself off on a different terminal window, just because again, there's some certain elements that are in paths and stuff like that are my own. I don't want to keep so. Let's see. Doing better with this. This part's still the same mostly because I didn't change the underlying prompts there. The title ideas in isolation, still kind of weak. Build name, it's still doing the thing. I need to break it. Like, because the thing is that it shouldn't say build name, it should be just the factotum builds the professional factotum monoclass build. Well, no, it shouldn't say monoclass build, but still. And then now it cut down my intellect mastery factotum monoclass build again. It's doing the thing I'm telling it not to. You jerk. I'm not supposed to say factotum monoclass. It is doing this specifically to spite me. I do not appreciate it. Alright, back to our window OK. Let's see. It's one of those spots where I'm like, do this, I know I've got it. But I'm also struggling and I'm at the midnight oil sort of thing in the middle over there, right? Let's see. This kind of titles with topic series, build names, more detailed than content generic titles will refer to that. So right now we're using previous as being the previous response, which could be hurting our cause by either too many characters or kind of confusing it, and that would be why we'd only get 3 or 5 responses from that one. Plus, I think that it's something gross. Oh, gross. Oh. I realized something. That's not going to do well for me. Like this is an older setup. It just dawned on me that it's like a way older setup. Gosh, darn it. Did I put the newer setup as a question? Let's look at my reference tag here. So the ones we don't need it, I think we know obviously not. Prompts, title, classes. Right now. Oh, that's definitely not it. Because that's where we start getting to where there's like this stuff. Because it's weird that the one that I was using here, which is the old one apparently, which is also not word wrapping for some reason, but that's whatever. But that's the one I was using as a template here, and I think I grabbed the wrong template. In fact, looking at this, I know I grabbed the wrong template. Well, that's weird. Because this should still have the guide topic section too. Which is odd convocation. Let me see if I can sort my date. Stat blocks. I'm gonna lose my shoot. Okay. Because this is the actual one that I was looking for to use as my template for this one. So I screwed up. Yeah, it's fine. All right. No, it's not fine. Oh, let's, attach that. Alright, so control E on this one up here. Don't worry about it. Yes, okay. And then this guy gets copied. This guy gets pasted. Alright, now, because the thing that I need to do basically is pull what information is true from the previous one to solve for X more or less. And so now we got a situation where, okay, so here's our, using this data straight from, stop switching, using this data straight from source, which is part still true, please derive, please determine overall field topic, and there's our Now, you might judge me for using the term please when asking a machine in regards to doing XYZ thing. But you know what? Courtesy is kind of a two-way street. So even if the machine itself can't ever appreciate the fact that I said please, I appreciate the fact that I said please. So it's more for me than it. Alright. I think this should work, just doing it that way. 10 more.
glimpses, but all the madness is got in my head. You're a stranger now, and it speaks so loud, stealing all my energy. You never seem to put my